Hey guys, good afternoon. Mal Sanchez here with Gentbreak, episode 2 here with Limatus Bespoke, James Castro, and we're really here to kind of learn about the brand that he's running here. James, so how did Limatus Bespoke start?
So, started way before I actually came into it. Before we were something called Custom Shirts Monthly. Devin, the founder, had some experience going to Thailand for his mission when he was in the Mormon religion.
Okay.
And so he spent time in Thailand, fluent in Thailand, writing, could speak it, and he met a lot of tailors there. And so he got an experience where he actually went into one of these tailors. They came, they gave him a drink, he got up on the pedestal, they all measured him, he got to look at fabrics, and we joke around because he says that he felt like a king. And I was like, you should have said he felt like a president or something. But so he had this experience, and he came back and started going to college, and he was like, well, I know all these tailors now, and they're like family friends. I should just get people that I know that would want this product, dress shirts, suits, and fly these people over and just set up all these appointments, and I can make money while I go to college instead of having like an actual whatever job, part-time job. So we did that. And this is like 2002, 2003. For a little while, and then of course he got a real job and was working, and he always dabbled in it with dress shirts with friends and things like that. And I believe it was around like 2013 is when he actually put a website together for Custom Shirts Monthly, and they started doing monthly subscriptions.
So they would essentially, you would order online, or was it by phone, or how?
Yeah, no. So it's actually pretty neat. He got involved with a company called, at the time was called Fashion Metric, and what they did is they had an algorithm that you get your height, your weight, your pant size, and they could spit out pretty much everything you need for a dress shirt. And it had about 80% success rate, so it was good enough to go forward. So what he did is he had this website where you choose your shirt, you design your shirt, and then you put it in the month that you want that shirt sent to you, so you had a virtual closet. And then they put in just their general measurements, or if they already knew their measurements, they could input that as well, and they would get their shirt. So he had quite a few subscribers doing that, but it was a side gig for him because he was still working, and I didn't know that. So I met him late 2014. And just liked the shirts. I always had trouble finding dress shirts because I need a medium for my body, but it was too short because I have 2 inches taller on my wingspan than I am on my height. So I need like a large, and it would just be like all this fabric and just like terrible. So I never wore dress shirts. And at the time I was working in the hotel industry, and my girlfriend at the time was like, hey, I ran into my buddy who has this shirt company. I think you would be really good at selling shirts. It was very random, and I was like, okay. Like I've always been like in retail, so I was always good at like selling. I'm always good at talking to people, kind of relating to people, and so he had some interns that were selling for him, and they weren't that great. So we did like a better business sales practice kind of PowerPoint presentation for them at the hotel that I was working at in one of their conference rooms, and he was like, oh, thank you, this was awesome. It was the first time I ever met him. And he was like, well, let me get you a suit. And I was just like, sure, like, I'll get a suit. So I got the suit, and it was awesome. Got me a dress shirt, too.
You got a free suit for doing it?
Free suit for helping him out.
That was awesome.
Yeah, for the whole sales practice thing. And it was also my girlfriend's, like, diabolical way of getting us to meet. She knew that probably Devin would like me, I would like Devin, and then maybe something would happen. So I was working maybe like a month after I met Devin, and I would send him people. I was working out a lot. I knew a lot of guys that were bodybuilders, pretty much, can't find a dress shirt. And so I was sending him so many people that he pretty much reached out to me, and he was like, hey man, I have another job, and I didn't know that. And I was like, oh, I thought this is what you did. He's like, no, this is like my hobby. This is stuff that I love doing. And he's like, but I have too many people now because you're sending me them. Can you just like handle the measuring? And I was like, yeah, sure. So he taught me how to measure. And I think I did that for maybe 2 weeks, and I was at work, and I texted him, and I was like, hey, do you have anyone like running your company? And he was like, no. And I was like, I know we just met, and this is through text while I'm working. Like, I was like, I know we just met, but can you pay me like almost nothing for the first year, maybe give me some sweat equity so I can have some ownership into it? And he was just like, done. And I put in my 2 weeks.
Oh, man.
And I started with Limatus Bespoke for about a year. And then
Is that when you changed the name?
No, sorry. I started with Custom Shirts Monthly for about a year. And there was a lot of things that needed to be cleaned up because of the fact that he was so busy with his other job that it was hard to get with some other clients. So building up with sales and also just taking care of people that shirts needed some tweaking and whatnot. Then my girlfriend, was now my fiance, was really interested in everything. And I'd always ask her advice, but she's very business oriented, very ambitious. She has her own business that she does like marketing reports. So she was like, hey, you really need to sell these suits because these suits are really awesome. And obviously there's more money in suits than dress shirts. And I was like, no, I completely agree. Like I would love to sell these, but the algorithm was a big thing. Like, you know, suits are a whole different monster. If you mess up a jacket, like it's costly. A dress shirt, you can make another dress shirt and you won't break the bank. But if you had a month where you had to redo 50 suits, probably go under.
Yeah.
Especially starting off this small, tiny business. And so we talked, and then she ended up getting involved, and she's like, we need to sell suits. And that's when Limatus Bespoke was pretty much created. We were working on the website, and she ended up buying into the company to become a partner as well. So now she's a creative director. So anything that you see brand-wise, Instagram photos, she doesn't take the photos, but she does all the reviewing of the photos. It goes through her eyes first.
So she's running the Instagram page.
Instagram page, the lookbook.
What's that Instagram page, by the way?
It's Limatus Bespoke. Pretty much just our name, Limatus Bespoke together.
Right. This is the lookbook.
The one thing that's really cool about our Instagram page, at least I think it's really cool, is that there's no models on there.
Okay.
All those people are our clients.
Right on, man. What's so I know that it went from a custom monthly custommonthlyshirts.com.
Yeah, Custom Shirts Monthly.
Customshirtsmonthly.com, and then it went to Limatus Bespoke. What inspired the name?
So our LLC has always been Limatus LLC, and Limatus is pretty much just Latin for refined, polished. And that was always something that was involved with Custom Shirts Monthly by Limatus.
Okay.
And so when we had that, we wanted to put something else on it that people would actually know what we do. And I know in San Antonio it's not really fashionable like New York or Los Angeles.
It's a different world.
It's a different world, yeah. But we're getting to a point where you go out to lunch and there's guys in suits. There's people in suits walking around downtown. And so we wanted to let them know like kind of what we did. And bespoke was a word that most people probably hadn't been exposed to. Now it's all over the place. It's kind of weird. Like whenever we were like Limatus Bespoke, we just saw all these other bespokes coming up. Not that we were starting any trend. It was just kind of like that theory where like you see her pregnant, like if your wife gets pregnant, then you see pregnant women everywhere, kind of thing. Or if you buy a Jeep, all of a sudden you see Jeeps everywhere.
Yep.
So I think that was kind of the what was going on with that. But yeah, so we did Limatus Bespoke just to show that, you know, refined, polished, and custom.
Nice.
So
I know when we first met, we got invited to the Roosevelt Library by our last episode, Craig.
Yeah.
And then one of the first things that Leland had mentioned is, hey, you guys got to come see the suit tailor here, or suitor.
Yeah.
I forgot
yeah,
what.
No, people call me a tailor all the time.
And we were like, all right, yeah, you know, we're thinking it's just going to be this this small room that, you know, they measure you and they get it.
Yeah.
And we walk in and we feel like we're in New York. You can't see it in the camera shot, but we'll roll to a shot where you could actually see the logo. Really cool room though.
Yeah, what Haley wanted to kind of do was, they haven't seen the building. So the building's old, 1929.
Yeah.
Very like old world. And we wanted to do a nice merger of old world, new world, and also like minimalistic. So when you were in here, you would feel like, oh, I feel like I would be kind of in New York or wherever, San Francisco, LA. And so you could actually get a different feel of why you would want to purchase a $10,000 suit from us.
You've seen Kingsman, right?
Yeah, of course.
So Kingsman, it makes you feel like Kingsman when you walk in here.
I mean, if I have ideas for new showrooms that are almost exactly similar to like
You're gonna pull a lever and the suit's just gonna fall on you, right?
Yeah. And the Kingsman was an inspiration for one of my first suits, my first double-breasted suit that I did for the very first lookbook that Devin and I were in.
Okay.
So it's just a double-breasted with a orangish window.
Okay.
And it's called the Kingsman.
Okay.
Yeah,
Awesome.
so-
Is that on the website? Can we pull that
yeah,
up? Okay.
yeah, it is
awesome.
on the website.
We'll pull that.
So it's in the first lookbook.
We'll pull that up for the followers out there. Another question is, where are these suits made? I know there's no factory here, right? Here in San Antonio.
No, there's no factory here that does the actual suit construction, but I do employ seamstress and tailors here to do the adjustments that are needed whenever the suit is here. And actually, I've used them to make like full vest, dress shirts, things like that. So going back to the Thailand story, we had a lot of connections in Thailand because of Devon. And what we initially were doing, everyone works, it's kind of a cool story, everyone works in Bangkok. That's where all the work is. So every surrounding village, town, families will get separated because they have to work in Bangkok and they have to send money back to their families. And sometimes they don't see their families for quite a while. And when I mean quite a while, sometimes it's a year or longer because they can only go back a certain amount of times. So what we did is we partnered with some people and we moved the facility up north, northeast. And this is closer to where all these people actually kind of live. So they're able to like go home on the weekends, some of them. They can go home at least once a month. So it just productivity went up because we were just like, this is terrible, you know, like just how it is.
Yeah.
So, and in Thailand, they're very dexterous. They're known for their like workmanship with their hands. So a lot of the stuff and the master tailors that we have, they're just amazing. Like the price point that we have is because obviously they are in Thailand, but the workmanship, the same workmanship on the 650 suit is exactly like the $10,000 suit. Okay. So there's no like, we don't cut any ends, anything like that on the suits that are a little least expensive. But because we moved it up, it's just been like night and day. Like it's just a little more thankful, I guess, and which is fine because I'm thankful that, you know, I'm able to actually employ people and actually give them like a livelihood, which is awesome. And it helps out that people love our stuff as well. And believe it or not, they ask. Like they're like, oh, like that suit. And I was like, oh yeah, man. Out of the park, man! You hit it. They're like, cool.
That's awesome.
So
That's
yeah,
awesome.
it's really neat.
So they know. I mean, these residents in Thailand, they know what they're making. Mm-hmm. It's like it's not just like, hey, they're running patterns through a factory. This person is sewing this. No, these people are familiar with. Hey, we have the what are the names of the suits? The Kingsman.
Yeah, the Kingsman. You have the Castro Troy, which is this one. There's a Pollux Troy. I mean, I try to name all of my suits off of the inspiration of why I made it.
Yeah.
So if you go online and see like other people's suits, we will name like customer suits or ask them like, what do you want to name it? But I have North by Northwest. I have the Tolkien, which looks like a brown English like J.R.
What's behind the Tolkien?
J.R. Tolkien, like his smoking suit that he used to have. Yeah, so it's just really fun because like if you go into a store, you buy something off the rack and that's your suit.
Yeah.
And then they alter it to fit you. This one, you can be as involved in the construction during the appointment. One great thing about the appointment too is that we're not just selling you a suit like, oh yeah, what do you want? What do you want? We actually do an education about, you know, what's bothered you in the past about suits? What do you already have in your closet? What are you going to use it for? Maybe we can use some stuff that you have, mix and match with some other stuff that you're going to buy from us. And the educational aspect of it is like super important because I can show you fabrics all day and build you a suit and be like, oh, this is a peak lapel, this is a notch lapel, and we'll go through it like straight pockets, cool. But if you actually know what you're building, you can leave with some like suit education. So that way, let's say you can't get a suit from me and you go out somewhere, at least you'll know things to ask whenever you're there, and that way you don't get sold like a suit with bad canvassing, which is probably the main reason why suits are inexpensive is because of canvassing. It's like the secret sauce of the suit.
Right.
Yeah.
One thing I've noticed, and tell me if I'm wrong, but in the past, let's say past 5 years, I've seen older gentlemen wearing slimmer and slimmer suits.
Yeah.
And I mean, back when I was working, you know, full time, the older gentlemen would look at me and they'd say, hey, that suit is way too slim. And now this is like a movement that's happening with the older generation, right?
Yeah, for sure. So it's kind of a movement that was started by us wearing slimmer clothes. And I think they were like, hey, I don't have to swim in my suit all the time. Because a lot of tailors, old world tailors, they have like set in their mind like, oh no, their jacket can't be that tight or your pants can't be that tight or they can't be that high. So there's a lot of people that are wearing these suits that are fit for them, and they look amazing. And people notice. Like I have clients that have worn suits for 30 years. They got one suit from me and went to the office, and someone finally complimented their suit. Because it's not like 80s banker style where it's like huge shoulders,
big old
pads,
lapels that are
exactly like they're not swimming in it. It actually fits around their body and is not just made to fit them.
That's awesome, man.
So yeah, it's always really awesome getting texts or like calls from clients and just being like, oh, I got so many compliments on my suit today. I was like, awesome, that's good to hear. That's what I'm here for. That's what I want to hear.
That's a brilliant movement on your end. So I hear that you guys have a women's line coming out.
We do, and I don't really want to necessarily call it a line more than a campaign because you build everything. Okay. If you wanted something in the book, for sure, like, yeah, we can replicate it. But it's more so if a woman comes to actually do what they want to get. So we usually call it a campaign. Even I call it a line or lookbook, and it's really not. But you know, you have so many aspects of what you can do with the build, and not only just having a regular suit with a cool fabric, but the custom fits as well. Like if you want your jacket to be longer, shorter. Women have lots of liberties with like jacket length, pants. I mean, they could have like flare out, a pipe, you know, like.
Would you say there's more complication to creating a woman's suit than a man's suit?
For sure. And that's why you don't really see too many people do it unless it's like a couture, like crazy runway. And so we kind of were last year experimenting with it, and we wouldn't advertise, but if clients' wives or girlfriends came to us, we would definitely be like, yeah, we can do it for you. This will be the first time that it'll be like Limatus Bespoke does female suits and dress shirts and vests and tuxedos and whatever. So it's going to be interesting, and it's going to be a lot of stomach aches for me.
When's that hit in the market, man?
So the launch will probably be on the 13th of October.
Okay.
Is when we'll actually launch the lookbook. Yeah, it's going to be pretty exciting. It's going to be interesting to see what happens. I'm curious about the buzz that we'll get and the calls from women that want to get suited up by us, because I have this theory that right now we're probably like 95% men, 5% women. I really have a feeling that
it's going to reverse.
Oh, I mean, maybe not that high, but at least a 50-50, 60-40, where women will be getting more stuff than men, and which is awesome. It's a good feeling, just like dress people up and make them feel their best.
I could see it, man. You guys are definitely doing what the market's asking out there. Question, I know you guys, we follow you on social media, Instagram primarily, right? What other channels do you guys have?
We have Twitter, still Limatus Bespoke. Instagram is our big one.
Okay.
That was the one that kind of drove sales early on.
Okay.
People contacting us through there, or just referencing it, friends that were happy with their product, like go on Instagram and look at their stuff. And then we also have a Facebook, of course, and that's really it. Those three. We don't get into like Tumblr, which we probably should because there's a lot of visuals.
Yeah.
We do need to start doing something where like I buy like a professional camera and start taking pictures of everything that comes in, because we have so much stuff coming in now that it would help just to reference, because we have a lot of clients. I mean, I'm not sure if you've experienced this. When you look at a swatch that's this big,
yeah,
and you really can't imagine how it'll look like this.
Yeah.
So you know, to show them like, oh, there's the full suit, it helps out a lot. There's a lot of technology that they have on the build sites that you can add, but it's really kind of lame because it really just takes it and replicates it, and it doesn't look the same.
Yeah,
it doesn't look the same. And actually, I think it would decrease sales. So like if that's what it looks like for some of these windows and Glen plaids and things like that. So yeah, just those the big three: Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook.
What's your most active?
Twitter. Or sorry, Instagram.
Instagram. Okay.
Yeah, that was the most active. And then I have a personal account as well for business. Is just Aren't You That Suit Guy?
That's right. We'll put that link in there for you guys to follow. I did realize on your because I follow you guys on Instagram primarily. Mm-hmm. We follow you guys on Instagram primarily. We have a Twitter. We have but just like you, I think we're most active on Instagram.
Yeah. It's like if you post on Instagram, you can send it to the other two. So it's just like you're kind of done.
Absolutely. We did see you have a pet contest going on. Tell us about that.
Yes. So National Dog Day was, I think, like
last week, right?
Last week.
Thursday?
Yeah, and so we saw that and we thought it was really cool. We were away from my fiance's dachshund, Brody, so we weren't able to take pictures that day. We were at the beach, and he wasn't able to come with us because he's a very old, 13-year-old, old grumpy man.
That's who you posted on your profile the other day, right?
Yeah, that's who I posted. So we were talking about it, and we were like, well, we have so many clients that love animals, and they always talk about their pets. And I was like, what if they just, even if they don't have anything from us, we have people that aren't really our clients, but they come and they hang out, and they just want to get like a dress shirt, which I still consider them a client, but they're like, oh, I don't have a suit. I was like, no, you can just wear whatever you want. Just post whatever funny picture you want with your pet. Doesn't have to be a dog either. We said, so that's why we put Limatus loves pets. Or is it Limatus loves dogs? Sorry. Limatus loves dogs.
Should we check?
Yeah, let's check. Because I was like, what if people have lizards? And
Let's see. I know I saw it earlier. Let's see.
Limatus loves pets.
Limatus loves-
Yeah. So a lot of dogs. We haven't had any cats yet. I'm hoping there's like lizards, bearded dragons, maybe some snakes, some rabbits, just a little bit of everything. I thought it'd be kind of funny if someone had like a pet sheep, like a merino sheep. We mostly use merino wool. But so we were like, let's just do it for the whole week. And she was like, well, why would people post? And I was like, well, I think it'd be fun. And then we just added the extra, we just got some Laura Piana fabrics in for shirts. For dress shirts. So I was like, well, let's just give away a Laura Piana dress shirt. And those are actually our most expensive shirts that we sell. So I was like, let's just throw that in and we'll just pick a winner. I hope I win.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. I'm excited. I know I'm going to take my picture with my little Chihuahua tonight.
Nice.
And we'll post that on there. We did see Maxine.
Maxine's been around.
What's that? The Roosevelt mascot,
She's
right?
pretty much the unofficial Roosevelt mascot. She's the nicest dog, but when she's in that kennel and people open that door, she sounds like a dragon. So it's always great when someone comes in for an appointment and Maxine just charges them barking like a crazy dog and then stops and is like all happy and getting pets. It makes for a good opening for the appointment.
Right. I remember when I first walked in here, man. She came up and I was like, oh, pretty girl. So immediately I was like, man, she's a guard dog. She's going to attack me.
And the way the building looks outside, you would think there would be some kind of guard dog.
It's like Mr. Burns when he's like, release the hounds.
That's right.
The hounds come running out. Awesome, man. Well, hey, let's give the followers, let's give the pages to follow, right? We have, is it Limatus Bespoke on Instagram? It's just Limatus Bespoke. And then on Twitter, it's all the same thing.
Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. Aren't you that suit guy's mine? And it's between every word there's an underscore. So aren't you that suit guy?
I'll put those links in the video. That way you guys could give that a follow.
Yeah, it's relatively new. I had my personal account, and then I was advised to probably start a business account. And it seemed natural because when I was being posted on Limatus Bespoke's account a lot, people would actually come up to me and say, like, aren't you that suit guy? Because they couldn't pronounce Limatus.
Is that where the name came from?
Well, that's where my name came from, because I was, man, like, Haley didn't believe me, our creative director, and we were at Nordstrom's, and this guy had all these boxes, and he was like, excuse me, and I thought I was in his way, so I was like, oh, and I got out of his way, and I was in a suit, of course, and I was like, oh, sorry, like, I'm gonna get out of your way. And he's like, no, excuse me. He's like, aren't you that suit guy? And he was like one of the sales guys at Neiman Marcus or Nordstrom. I can't remember. I think it was Nordstrom.
That's hilarious. Here in town?
Yeah, here in town.
Awesome.
So I would get recognized a lot initially because I was just my face. Because I was the one that started the Instagram account, but apparently our creative director was like, people don't just want to see selfies of you at places. I was like, what? Everyone wants to see selfies of me at places.
Why not? That's hilarious.
So that's where the Aren't You That Suit guy came from.
Awesome.
And it was available, which I was kind of shocked, actually.
Awesome. We'll definitely put those links for you guys out there to follow. And either way, James, we want to thank you for your time today.
Yeah, for sure. This has been great.
We know you got a client coming in, but we appreciate you making the time to talk to us today.
Yeah, definitely. Maybe we can do something in the future where you come in for getting measured and actually experience the whole appointment, educational aspect of it, measuring, picking up fabrics. And if anyone has any questions, you can message me on Instagram about suits. Aren't you that suit guy? They said they would post it up.
Yeah, we'll put that link on there.
Yeah, feel free. I get a lot of people asking me questions about suits, and I don't know everything. But if I don't know it, I can easily find it out.
Anything we should know before we let you go in the next 6 months? Any kind of promotions or anything that's going to happen?
As of right now, we do have a party coming up. But it's first come, first serve for clients. And then afterwards, we do sell tickets for $75. That is on October 13th.
Okay.
We're sending some invites to the people that been buying from us. But we're expecting about 200 plus people here.
Oh, man.
And yeah, it should be pretty fun. That's when we're going to launch the lookbook. And we're going to play the movies for each woman that's in the lookbook.
That's awesome, man. Yeah. That's awesome. Well, James, thanks again.
Yeah, no,
Appreciate
it was great,
your time
man.
today.
Thanks for coming.
Alrighty. Thanks, guys.